Good morning. So today's question on discoveringyourcosmicself.com is from Reena. As you know, the questions are being asked in response to the readings in this book, You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters. My co-author is Menas Kapatos, who's a cosmologist, climate change expert, and quantum physicist. So today's question is from Reena. She says, we know that we humans have an innate affinity to the natural world, but we see that children today are spending less time in nature and more time indoors with media. What can we improve on as educators and parents to encourage children to reconnect with nature? It is people like you who have a powerful voice. Could you please use your influence, Deepak, work as an advocate to think about nature and improving health and well-being of children? So first of all, our children do what we do. So in order to improve the behavior of children or improve the quality of life of our children, we have to be examples. We can't be giving lectures and spending all our time doing something else, because as very young children, there's a phenomenon called mirror neurons, and their neurons imitate everything that your neurons are up to. And so there's a natural resonance and attunement that children fall into at a very young age by just being with their parents. So if you're not spending time in nature, then your children are not going to be spending time in nature. Let's look at this in an overall context. Just that question, spending time in nature, kind of suggests that we are not nature. We are an activity of nature. And for most of our evolution, we have been very close to and intimate with nature as our extended body for most of our evolutionary history. And that's true of all other species as well. Thanks, Patty, for sharing this with others. Happy Ramadan, my friends, Alwas and others. So for most of our evolutionary history, we've been part of nature. We've basically been part of the whole kingdom of nature with other species. Now it's interesting that other species, of course, are just activities of nature and part of the food chain where prey and predator go along as a continuum of experience of nature, because nature is both the predator and the prey, and the prey is a predator in turn of something else, down to the level of insects. We humans, on the other hand, created the ability to create constructs of our basic experiences of knowing and perceiving, and the constructs we created allowed us to manipulate our experience of ourselves and of nature as well, because what we call the laws of nature are actually the regularities of experience. But this gave us immense power. I like to think of this metaphorically as the fall from grace, the knowledge of good and evil, because by separating ourselves from nature intellectually, even though we are an activity of nature, but by separating ourselves and creating constructs around our perceptual experiences and our emotions around those perceptual experiences and our interpretations, which we call thought, around those perceptual experiences, we also learned how to manipulate nature. And as a result, we created technology. Some of it very useful. We are communicating right now through this technology. I'm in an air-conditioned room, and I travel all over the world on airplanes. And so we have created our environment. Was this good or bad? Well, actually, if you look at the fact that humans have extended their lives and become a species that can consciously change the trajectory of their evolution, and a species that can control their biology, we have now a world where the fastest growing segment of the world's population is over the age of 90, the fastest growing segment. And this has happened because of improved nutrition, better hygiene, and also, according to many, the disappearance of many epidemics that used to claim children in childhood. So, there's vaccination had a big role to play with that, even though today in many parts of the world, tuberculosis, malaria, AIDS are still killing thousands of people. So actually being able to control our environment gave us control over our biology. Through antibiotics, we got rid of many fatal infections, but now we have a problem because we've also killed off a lot of the microbiome, which is healthy for us, and we have antibiotic resistant organisms. So now we're back to where infections are more virulent than ever, and we have antibiotic resistant organisms in hospitals that are killing off people. So we've had to pay a price. At the same time, we've caused extinction of other species, and we've polluted our environment, destroyed our microbiome, poisoned the food chain, and brought about climate change and global warming, which could easily lead to our extinction. So it's a very complicated thing. What's the right thing to do? Being in nature is very good. Yes, somebody, Colette, says hello from Norway. Norway is a good example of more nature at the present time, but the world has become so urbanized that there's hardly any nature left anywhere. And when we go to places where there is a lot of nature still left, then the environmental conditions are harsh, and unless you're used to them, you may not find them comfortable. Many societies, particularly in Canada, in Europe, and in the United States, and now even in India and Africa, are very conscious of this, and they're restoring nature, and nature conservation is a big endeavor in many societies, which is very important. We also have the technology to bring back some species that are going extinct. So it all depends on our collective intention. There's no doubt in my mind, if technology goes the way it's going, and it is part of our evolution, that the technology has the capacity to destroy whatever is left of nature and ultimately destroy ourselves also. Basilica Focus, hello from Mykonos, Greece. Another beautiful place on our planet, Mykonos. I've been there. So there's still plenty of nature left. It will take a collective effort, not just by educators, but by environmentalists and conservationists, to recognize that to the extent we desecrate nature, which is our extended body, we will be desecrating ourselves as well. So we need to find a balance. I can also say that technology is unstoppable. It is part of our evolution. But if we get the deeper message of the fundamental fact that we are the universe, that the universe is an experience in our own consciousness, as are all other species, and there is interconnectedness and inseparability of life, then reverence for life, all life, including all of nature, is our only salvation. So that's all I have to say. We all have to be advocates for preserving nature, and right now the American policy of trying to withdraw from the Paris Accords, the Paris Agreement about environment, I think is a dangerous move, and I hope that our conscience and the collective consciousness of all of us in America and the rest of the world will say, let's work together to restore a balance in nature. Otherwise, we are collectively doomed. India and China is doing it. Europe is signing on. And so we in America also need to sign on to these efforts to save our planet, because it's us. My last estimate when I was reading about the universe was there are 2 trillion galaxies, 700 sextillion stars, and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of planets. So we, on this Earth, if you looked at Earth in the bigger context, you'll see that we are not even 1 grain of sand in all the seashores of the world. Planet Earth is a speck of dust in an infinite void of intergalactic space. We don't know if there's life elsewhere. Most people think that there certainly is, but so far we have only ourselves on this little speck of dust. In all the seashores of the world, 1 grain of sand, and we are like little microbes there. Think of it in that big picture, and then think of how important it is for us to have reverence for existence, reverence for our planet, reverence for the earth, which is recycling as our body, for the oceans and rivers, which are recycling as our circulation, for the air, which recycles as our breath, for the trees, which are our lungs, because if they didn't breathe, we wouldn't breathe, and if we didn't breathe, they wouldn't breathe. Think of the interdependence of all of existence. So do your best to spend time in nature, and when you're indoors, try and put some houseplants there. I have lots in my apartment right now, and these days everybody is working towards restoring circadian rhythms through grounding devices, because we have lost our connection to the earth, and the earth is a battery, so is our body. When we ground ourselves, we restore balance in our body, we decrease inflammation. So I use grounding devices, I use circadian lighting. I try and spend as much time as I can, but it's not easy. I do have a week called Silent Awakenings in Asilomar, where we spend time together in silence and walk on the beach and spend time in nature as well. So this is my short answer. Have reverence for existence and do your best, because nature will heal you, and the reason it'll heal you is you and I are part of nature. That's part of being the universe. Thank you so much. I'm looking at some of your comments and questions. Billy Roy shared the video with many others, so did 25 of you. Thank you. What are some of your grounding devices? I have a grounding chair, I have grounding mats, I have grounding bed sheets. If you go to jiyo.com, go to the marketplace, you'll find all kinds of grounding devices. We're doing a lot of research on grounding devices and how they decrease inflammation. I was just listening to my Ayurveda online class at the chopraonline.com, which was very good. Thank you. Erica, another beautiful message. Thank you, Erica. Rishikesh Dixit, hello to you, sir. Ingrid, thank you, Deepak from Sweden. I miss Sweden. I hope to come back soon. Alice McLean Walker and 29 others just shared your video. Thank you so much. Carol Harris, love Jayo. Yes, join Jayo. Let's create an ecosystem where we can all help each other. Trees can help you ground. Absolutely. Hug a tree and you hug the earth. Are these devices available in Australia? Look up on Google and just look at grounding devices and you'll find out if they are. Otherwise, order them from Jayo and they'll send them to you. Susan Blackman says, love from Atlanta. Jackie, spending time in nature soon. Good for you, Jackie. Gloria Perez, thank you from Colombia. I love Colombia. Now, there is a lot of nature there in Medellin and Cartagena, even outside of Bogota. So, Carol says, I'm so ungrounded, it's awful. Then ground yourself, Carol. Sunny Boy Green, 31 others shared your video. Thank you so much. Thank you from Latvia. Rita, I shall come to Latvia soon. Christy, I'll come to Michigan soon. Hug a tree and you hug the universe. Absolutely. Hug a tree and you hug the earth and the universe. And you breathe pure oxygen as well. Okay. Love from Guatemala. Lisa says, love to you, Lisa from in Guatemala. Jackie Jean, love your book. Thank you, Jackie. Jennifer Elizabeth, love from Northern California. Same to you. Kelly Cat, San Antonio, sending healing. Same to you. Okay, so now I think since we have become friends and we connect with each other every day, let's continue this conversation on Jayo as well. Merrick shared my video with 33 others and 33 others shared it. Thank you so much. I think we're slowly moving in the direction of a critical mass for a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier and joyful planet. Margie Mekumsey, come back to Australia? Of course I will. Yes, from Mexico. Love to you. Fida Ali, love you, Fida. Okay, I think I'll say goodbye for today. Bye.